Hey, Bruce Naylor here, aka Frugal Tech, and one of my most popular videos on YouTube is the 5 reasons I disliked my Apple 15-inch MacBook Pro with Retina Display. And it really boiled down to 5 different reasons. I'm not going to go through all the details of it, but the lack of a Blu-ray DVD player, the lack of a built-in Ethernet port, the fact that I couldn't do a mix minus with the audio for recording podcasts, the fact that the MacBook Pro recognizes an external display as a TV set instead of a monitor using an HDMI connection, and finally the fact that it has soldered and non-upgradable RAM at 16 gigabytes. These are my 5 Bs about a supposedly professional level laptop that costs $2,500. Now, this particular video has, I think, about 500 thumbs up and about 250 thumbs down. And a lot of people that, commented on the video did not acknowledge the reasoning why I was upset with these things being missing, but rather they focused on the fact they thought I should have done my research before I bought the laptop. And the fact of the matter is, I already own MacBook Pros. I already knew that it didn't have these things when I bought it, because ultimately it was about the trade-offs that I had to make in order to get the laptop that I wanted. But I thought I would do a little bit of a follow-up here. Let's talk about the lack of a DVD player. I believe a $2,500 laptop should come with a Blu-ray player. I really do. A professional level laptop should have a Blu-ray DVD player. Why? Because a lot of people don't want to rip movies and put them onto flash drives, etc. They'll buy a movie or two at Walmart, they'll throw them into their bag, they'll throw them into their laptop when they get to their hotel room or whatever. And that's what they want to do. And I think it should come with one. Now, people refer to me as a dinosaur because of that. And that's because I think a number of people who watch tech YouTube videos are probably a bit of ahead of the curve than the general population out there. The general population, they probably don't have a clue how to do all that. They just want to buy the DVD and pop it in there. Remember, this is a pro-level machine designed for professionals on the go, and not everybody is a tech enthusiast. They just it's just what it is. I think that it should be at least available in a build-to-order option. The Ethernet port. My reason was moving around 4K video files, which can be gigabyte after gigabyte after gigabyte of data, especially sending it back and forth to a NAS, even with wireless AC, is a slow and tedious process. It should come with the Ethernet port. And now a number of people did agree with me on that point, but then others once again said, well, you can get an adapter and you can use Thunderbolt port or USB to Ethernet adapter and make it work that way. Well, that's true. Then why don't Apple provide one with the laptop? If they don't want to build it into the laptop, at least give us that part where we have that available to us. Now, as far as the audio mix minus is concerned, I get that. I understand not everybody's into podcasting and probably doesn't really understand how audio mix minus works unless you're an audio engineer or you've worked with podcasting or with audio to some degree. So yeah, I kind of get people not understanding, but they didn't listen to me in the video. They just had in their head, that's all I needed. The HDMI thing, what I was referring to, when you use a HDMI connector to a HDMI input on a monitor, and I have an X-Star 27-inch 1440p display, it thought that it was a TV set. The Mac Pro thought it was a TV, and the color just didn't look right and wouldn't adjust out right. I had no way of knowing that until I bought this, and because my old MacBook Pro didn't have an HDMI out. Now let's talk about 16 gigabytes of RAM being enough. Now, a number of people believe that they know more than I do about PCs and professional applications, and the 16 gigabytes of RAM was more than enough. Now, let's keep in mind 2 things. The RAM on the MacBook Pro, $2,500 machine, is not user replaceable. It is soldered to the motherboard. That's one. Number 2, it is not upgradable to any more than 16 gigabytes of RAM. Now, that's kind of odd because if you look at a lot of high-end gaming laptops, you can upgrade them to 32 gigabytes all day long. So apparently there is a use for 32 gigabytes of RAM. And if you're doing 4K video editing or working with 4K video, audio, you're running lots of virtual machines, it actually comes in handy. A number of people believe that if you need that kind of need, you don't need a laptop. Get a desktop. Well, in a way, if you're right, if that's all, if it was going to be a totally stationary device and you never anticipated it, taking it anywhere, traveling with it, cutting videos on vacation trips, businesses, whatever, then you'd be absolutely right. But I bought a laptop because I wanted that portability. I believe that should be there. In a way, I have a hard time believing there's much professional about the MacBook Pro. What is so pro about the MacBook Pro, right? Look, it's a well-built machine. Love the unibody construction, the fact you can open the lid with one finger. In my opinion, a keyboard that's almost second to none. The trackpad is absolutely fantastic on it. The Retina Display is beautiful. It's a great machine, okay? Is it overpriced? Well, it depends on who you ask and what your definition of value is. For me, it's fine. However, I do believe that there's things that Apple could do to make it a better device. But you know, I think many of us are guilty when we watch a video, we comment on a video about looking through our lens, our idea of how things should be, and not really understanding that not everybody's needs are the same. Not everybody has the same goal that you've got. Not everybody has the same use case that you got. Buy what works for you, for what makes you happy. But I felt my reasons that I didn't like about the MacBook Pro for a $2,500 professional level machine, either Apple not including these at no additional cost, or making them a build to order option, something like that, I think is almost unforgivable. And Apple's current obsession with thinner, lighter, and taking things away, I don't necessarily agree with that. And I don't know if I'll actually continue with the Apple ecosystem once this machine gets end of life. Maybe I'll just strictly be a Windows guy from there on, because I don't necessarily want a company dictating to me what I need and what I want. And that's it. I would argue that the MacBook Pro 15-inch with Retina display is a great laptop. There's things that could be improved. And I do have a need for a Blu-ray DVD player. I do have a need for an Ethernet port. I do have a need for an audio in and out jack. I don't want to use HDMI and have the MacBook Pro think it's a television set rather than a professional level monitor. And I would like to be able to upgrade to more than 16 gigabytes of RAM in the future. And that's a bit of a rant, but this is the follow-up to that video. Hopefully it makes some sense. Thanks.